Good afternoon. It is good to be here, and I'm pleased to have been invited to speak. When I was born in 1979 in Melbourne, my parents were determined that I should have the same opportunities in life as my older sister. We moved to Canberra before I was 2. It took lots of lobbying, but I did attend the same schools as Linda. It wasn't always easy. I did get bullied at times, but my sister's good-looking boyfriend also held my hand when we walked to high school. When I turned 18, my parents separated and later divorced. It was very sudden, and I was totally shattered. My sister was at university in Sydney. Dad was busy with his work, and Mum was really struggling. At that time, I had finished Year 12 and was attending TAFE, studying business administration. Over time, I attained certificates 1, 2, and 3. But emotionally, I was a mess. Angry, hurting myself, and behaviourally difficult. I have seen many counsellors and psychologists over the years. I did some voluntary and a bit of casual work. But my big chance came when I was employed part-time by the Australian Public Service. I was proud to get dressed and head off to work to do my job. But staff changed. Departments were restructured and relocated, and no one really understood that I am not a self-starter. At times, people would give me jobs to do, but they did not realise that I needed their training. For instance, it is really helpful if I can have a written sheet with step-by-step notes to tick off each task one by one. Sometimes I asked for help, but I was told I was interrupting people. For a while, I had to sit at a desk facing a wall. I was told to play computer games. I knew that was wrong. To help me work through my depression, Mum enrolled me in NIDA courses in Sydney, where Mum's family and my sister were living. Mum also organised for me to speak at a Rotary Club and other places to fundraise for ACT Special Olympics athletes, including me, to play tennis at the World Games in 2003 in Dublin and 2007 in Shanghai. They were really exciting times. In 2009, Mum and I decided to move to Sydney to be near our family. It took 2 years for my Canberra department to find me a transfer. I did volunteering while waiting, and I was invited to join the then Auburn Council Access and Inclusion Committee. That was a real eye-opener and really started me thinking about how I could help other people. But my new department still didn't get it. Some people were nice and friendly, but sometimes when people tried to help me, they also got into trouble. It was not a good place to work. And my supervisor thought it was funny when he patted me on the bottom. I tried to complain, but no one wanted to listen. Instead, they started to organise to have me sacked. My depression returned and my behaviour deteriorated. I felt that I had even more of a weight on my back than the person in the green sketch behind me. Eventually, I retired on medical stress grounds. I started my business, Kylie Down's Barriers, public speaking and art. By now, you know that I have Down syndrome, an intellectual disability, although now it's more likely to be called an intellectual impairment. It is described medically as a permanent cognitive communication impairment. That means that I have difficulty with comprehension and verbal communication, and my social functioning is impaired. It has been said that a child whose development is impeded by a defect is not merely a child less developed than his peers, rather he has developed differently. In fact, with an IQ of around 70, most of our time we focus on getting through to our next coffee. When I give a talk, I focus on one word at a time, just as TV newsreaders do. But when I'm excited or nervous, my speech may be a bit confused or jumbled. Please give me time to get our thoughts in order. We can expand on what we want to say. Sometimes short, simple questions can prompt us to express ourselves. Like everyone, we go on learning. I recently completed 2 years at a Sydney University program called Uni to Beyond. It was a dream-fulfilling opportunity for me to interact socially, intellectually, and academically in university life. I am at the moment getting help from a job agency so that I can get back into business admin position. Patience. 2 or 3 short verbal instructions. A list of easy to follow written steps. Staff to approach when we need help or are unwell to have problems. And inclusion in staff meetings and social occasions can all help us feel valued and bring out the best in us. Remember, too, to make an eye contact with us and talk to us and not the person we are with. When we are asked to do something and perhaps are being a bit stubborn about it, who? Me? Give us time to breathe, think, and hopefully you might get our cooperation and even a smile on their faces. There's no doubt the NDIS is making our lives so much better. Now, we are not being looked at as people with disability. We are being looked at for the value that we bring with us. We know we have to earn it, but we want, as Aretha Franklin famously said, OESPECT, respect. The NDIS is giving us choice, voice, and control in our lives. We are learning how to ask for the help we need, and for many of us, that is not easy. Once we had to accept what we were allocated. Now we are learning to self-advocate so we can tell politicians about our rights, to have the help we need, to live and contribute in the best way we can. 4 years ago, when I wanted to have my own place, I had to move into an expensive private rental apartment. There was no alternative. But last year, I finally managed to move into my own affordable housing home at Zetland, near Green Square. I love it. I previously had some independent living skills training, and now my NDIS plan supports my needs so much better. I have been known to get into strife, signing up to things and not keeping track of emails and messages, so a support worker helps me manage my IT use. I am not a great user of social media, though. I do look at Facebook. And I have a website, kyliedownsbarriers.com.au. I get help with the housework and my shopping, so I can make smart buys rather than fall for the ads on TV or the most expensive variety. I'm pretty good at staying within my weekly budget, though I'm not so good at working out change. I used to like experimenting with things like cayenne pepper. But now people enjoy coming to my place for a meal. I have to confess, though, that Uber Eats are a bit tempting sometimes. I need help with my diary and travel planning, and I'm getting better all the time. I'm pretty healthy, and my low muscle tone means my knees in particular are rather wonky. My physio and exercise physiologist are vital to my well-being. And so is Mum. She's the wind beneath my wings. She oversees all my medical and other appointments. She writes my talks, but I make sure I edit them. So, yes, there have been downs, and lots of them in my life. But like all of you here, we learn from all our experiences, the ups and the downs. The difficult years after my parents' divorce, the ever-worsening job situation when I just did not know how to ask for help, and my father's death from cancer last year have made me the person I am today. Finally, I want to highlight some of our often unrecognised assets as identified by researchers. We have heart qualities, relate well to others. We respond to positive human contact. We have concern for others. We love with less expectations. We trust and are loyal. We are generous. We bring forth gentleness in others. We enjoy simple pleasures. We tend to be honest and truthful. We have concrete, that is black and white logic. We are less sidetracked, and we have less intellectual vanity. We are straightforward and not worried about being like a Kardashian. That is, how good am I? I would never grow to fit that magnificent throne chair in the photo, or ever manage to pull that sword from the stone. But I reckon that my New South Wales Council for Intellectual Disability and the SLHD Committee membership, my public speaking and arts business, my church, the Down Syndrome Association Up Club, my new Toastmasters connections, my circle of support friends, and my family help me to feel like I am a bit of Wonder Woman these days. Thank you for listening to me.